everyone. Thank you for attending. And for those on the replay, thanks for watching. And I know that you guys are going to get such great information out of today. So, why are you here? You are here to learn how to become unstuck with your goals, how to actually start something and continue it for longer than 2 weeks. Because let's be honest, the new year's rolling around and we tend to set goals. And then we tend to be done with them by the end of January. That's like maybe 3 weeks, 2 weeks. So, how do we actually make a goal and stick to it? And now, I don't want this to just apply for January. I want this to apply for your entire year because obviously we don't just set goals one time a year and that's it. We hopefully are setting more goals throughout the year, and I'm going to teach you how to stick to them when you tend to fall off the horse, because let's be honest, that's what tends to happen. All right, welcome. My name is Courtney Lendine. I am a holistic health coach, and what I do is I help people build their best life and live the life that they want to, and by doing that, they feel more successful. They're achieving things they want to achieve. They're happier in their life, in your life. So I coach people through training, nutrition, sleep improvements, mindset, and I will use different techniques. Sometimes people need more workouts. Some people need more yoga. Some people need emotional release techniques. Some people need to learn how to eat differently so that they feel differently. So whatever it is, I help to make personalized coaching programs for you. All right. So what are we going to talk about today? Reaching goals and achieving them. All right. What tends to happen when we set goals? Life happens. Maybe we get bored. That's a big one nowadays. Boredom when I'm setting a goal. And after 2 weeks, you don't see your level of achievement that you want to, and you quit. Or you're like, this isn't working for 2 weeks. This isn't working, and I need something else. And the next thing you know, you have 4 or 5 different things that you're trying to do, and then nothing is getting done. Work gets busy, life gets busy, kids get sick, you get sick, everything throws you off of your game. So, how are we going to actually stay on track? I'm going to tell you the number one reason why we actually fail with setting goals. The number one reason is because the rules that we're setting up around our goal tend to set us up for failure. Yep. So why do those January goals always fail? Well, it's because we go all in. We're in 1,000% for like a week or two. And then, like I mentioned before, life happens. Work gets busy. We get sick. We get bored. And then we no longer continue after 2 weeks. We've set rules around what that success for that goal looks like. And when we don't hit those rules, getting in a workout every day, or thinking different every day, or never eating candy again, we set ourselves up for failure. Then we feel like crap. And then we're going down into a negative talk spiral of, why can't I stick to a goal? Why can't I do this? I never follow through, right? You've been there, I've been there, and it's because of the rules that we set around hitting a goal, making something successful. What are the rules that you're setting? So if you tend to make a goal and have these crazy rules around them, and then let's say food, for example, that's a big one around New Year's or all year round, really. I'm never going to eat chocolate ever again, or not for the next 30 days. We're setting ourselves up to fail because for 30 days, you're going to think, oh, I can't eat this. I can't eat that. I can't eat this. I can't eat that. I can't eat chocolate, blah, blah, blah. When what if we just change the rule a little bit? Would you be surprised to know that I allow myself to eat a little chocolate every day? Yep. And on days that I don't, well, cool. Last couple days, I haven't had that urge to eat some chocolate. I mean, I've had the urge, but I've thought, do I really need that chocolate and do I really want it? Or is it more of a habit in my brain? Because that's what tends to come down to a lot of our failure is habits that are set in our brains. And those habits, they're not really wants that our body or needs that our body needs. They are more habits in our brain. So when we have these habits, such as I love to have chocolate every day, but I don't need chocolate every day, come into a habit of that. My body craves it after a certain amount of time because you're used to having it. You eat dinner, you have just a small little bit of chocolate. Me. Now, I've made my rule instead of saying, oh, I'm not going to eat chocolate for 30 days or a week. I say, okay, I allow myself maybe one little square or ball or whatever it is that I have at home. I allow myself one, maybe two little squares of that. Now, at the moment, we have these huge, ginormous Toblerone bars that we bought while we were traveling. And at the moment, that's my one chocolate, which I know is way over the top. But you know what? It's okay because I've set the rule that I know that I'm not going to continue this habit. We're not going to always have these gigantic chocolate bars at home, right? So, how to not feel like a failure is setting up your rules around not feeling like a failure. It's okay to eat chocolate every day. It's okay to eat a hamburger and fries. So if we're setting ourselves up for 30 days, for example, not going to eat junk food, you've set yourself up for failure right away. And I don't want you to do that. So how do we actually set the goals and then set those rules around what success looks like? All right, so the first thing that actually can help you is setting up for success by doing an 80-20 rule. So an 80-20 rule is for 80% of the time, I'm going to eat healthy, I'm going to exercise, I'm going to do all these things. And you know what? Those other 20%, they're kind of free. I get to go out to eat. I get to choose something that's a little unhealthy. I get to skip a workout, things like that. I get to indulge in a little bit of whoa, 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 whoa is me talk, right? We can't be perfect all the time. We can't be positive 100% of the time, but I can be positive 80% of the time, 90% of the time, and those other 10, 20%, I'm going to give myself a break. So it goes around setting those rules. What do your rules for success look like? Mine look like 80% of sticking to something, maybe 90% most of the time. I'm about 80 to 90% of the time sticking to how I want to live, how I want to just conduct life, right? And those other 10 to 20%, you know what? I'm going to give myself a little bit of leeway and say, oh, hey, it is not the end of the world if I don't stick to this 100% of the time. This also gives you a little bit more freedom when, let's say we get bored. I know that is one of my biggest things. I get bored and I'll do something for 2 weeks and you don't really see a lot of the payoff, a lot of the gratification of I've done this for 2 weeks now. And 2 weeks seems like a very long time nowadays, right? It seems like forever, but it's really not. It's such a small bit of time. But in just 2 weeks, sometimes even a week, we tend to get bored. We tend to be like, ah, well, this is losing its woo fun. And a lot of that comes down to social media nowadays, where we need constant boom, 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 something happening. What's the next trend? What's the next thing that's going to stimulate my brain? If we're not getting that on a regular basis, we tend to go, I'm bored. So one check-in I really like clients to do is check in and be like, is this boring because I'm not getting that boom burst of like excitement? Or is this boring me because of something else? Is this really boring? Is this really something I can't stick to? And a lot of times clients will say that, you know what, this is just because I need that next trend. I need that next cool thing that's happening. I need that next like burst of feel good hormones that are going into your body when you do something new. So check to see if boredom is really one of your things. That, okay, maybe it is working, it just needs a little bit more time to work, and maybe it's just you're getting bored by it. How do you make it more exciting, more like easier to stick to, basically? So another way that you can actually stick to your goals is starting something and doing it for 5 minutes. So say, for example, you need to start working out more. Working out is an amazing thing for our bodies, right? Working out helps us feel better about ourselves. It increases our confidence. It increases our feel-good hormones in our bodies. I mean, it is an amazing tool, and it's something that we can use anytime that we need to. It's something that can be free. You can do training at home. You can do training outside. Something that's super easy. There's so many free resources online nowadays. So doing something for 5 minutes, like training, can help boost yourself to get into that habit a lot more. And everyone has 5 minutes, right, of being able to do something. The problem lies in thinking, is this going to help me? Or thinking that 5 minutes is enough to help you, which it is, totally is. So finding that little bit of time to actually carve out in your day and say, I'm going to sit down and do this for 5 minutes. Now, a lot of people will say 5 minutes isn't enough, and they don't even start with 5 minutes because they're like, well, if it's only 5 minutes, it's not going to make a difference. And then when I suggest, all right, well, let's do something for 10 or 15 minutes, they're like, well, I don't know if I can like find that time when it's only 5 more minutes from that initial 5 minutes, 5 minutes, maybe even 10 minutes more. So it's committing to yourself, deciding that you actually want to be making this change. And you start it with just as little as 5 minutes every day. Now, I have a 5-minute program called Finish in 5 that helps people actually begin some new habit they want. And when I have people start this, it isn't just one thing that we're working on. We're doing training, we're doing mindset, we're working on our nutrition, we're working on our sleep, working on meditation, whatever is that person's need. But most of the time, we all need these things. We don't need just one thing. We usually need all of these things combined to actually create a new habit. Now, this is the foundation of starting something. Now, when I talk about training, when I talk about sleeping more, how you're thinking, what you're eating, the reason why this is the ground to start like a new habit, and maybe these are the habits that you want to be starting, which is amazing and great. But what if you have something else that you'd like to work on? Everyone starts at this ground level. And the reason is because you have to set that platform, that ground base of being able to make new habits. And making those new habits as simple as 5 minutes of taking a walk outside, or 5 minutes of some exercises at home, or even just meditating for 5 minutes. Thinking about what you're going to cook for dinner for 5 minutes. It doesn't take that much time. Excuse me. So when we have those 5 minutes that we're just starting this new habit, it starts to build these new pathways in your brain. And these pathways will help you continue building more and more and more of those good habits. Now, when you start a new habit, you're probably feeling that, this is hard. Or maybe it's exciting in the beginning, but after those 2 weeks, it goes, this is hard. This is boring, right? It almost feels like it's more work to do this new habit than just to be like, I'm not seeing the benefits just yet. It's more work. It's more exhausting than actually benefiting. Now, this is the crucial point where you don't want to give up. And the reason is because you're building new neural pathways in your brain. And when you're building new neural pathways, it's going to feel like a new path that you're taking through a field, right? In that new path, there's, grass is high, and, maybe there's some weird ups and downs in there that you just can't see just yet. So walking through that field initially, really tough compared to your old habits, the easy path that you're just like, no, I'll just go this way because it's already paved. It looks nice, it's smooth, it's easy, right? although it's heading you down into feelings of not not hitting goals and not reaching the things that you're wanting to be reaching, an easy path. But if you go down that path that's a little bit unworn yet, what you're going to do is you're going to walk that path many, many, many times. And as you walk that path, the grass is going to get matted down a little bit more. Those bumps are going to get less and less because you're walking down those more and more. It's going to be easier to take that new path every time. So building a new habit in your brain is about building that new path. And at first, it's going to be tough. It's going to feel hard. It's going to feel like a lot of extra work. And you may even feel more tired. And the reason is because our brain uses up a ton of our energy, especially when we're creating new habits. So when we have these new habits we're creating, we're using up a lot more energy. We're using a lot more of our brain space and building those neural pathways that you're going to feel a little bit tired at the beginning. You're going to feel like, oof, wow, why am I so wiped out by doing just this little thing every day? It's because you're building that new neural pathway. So starting with, again, that 5 minutes of whatever that you're wanting to do and to add in, 5 minutes every day. And you know what? I'm going to set a rule around this where you can succeed even more. And how about only 5 minutes, 5 days a week? Then you have 2 days where you can be like, oh, okay, I'm busy today, got something going on, can't do it. No worries. 5 minutes, 5 days a week. And setting that rule of this is what I'm going to do and this is what I'm going to stick to. Now that's doable. 5 minutes, 5 days a week. Super easy. And setting your rules around what success actually looks like. 80% of the time, I'm going to stick to my rules or these new habits. And 20% of the time, that's okay. Right? So setting these new rules around what actually success is will help you actually achieve your goals. So the other thing that tends to throw people off when they're setting new goals is what pattern tends to be the thing that gets them off track. Now, we tend to always end things a certain way, right? My personal preference is of ending things is getting too busy. So I tend to get too busy. I stack on too many things. I think, oh, it's going to be really easy to take this on. No problem. I can add in one more thing, and one more thing, and one more thing. And the next thing I know, I'm not sticking to my new goal that I want to stick to because I'm too busy. So we all tend to have these patterns that come into place that throw us off our game. So finding your pattern, what tends to be the thing that makes you stop doing what you're actually trying to do? So recognizing your pattern. And sometimes when you first start something, the first step is going to be recognizing what your pattern is. So let's say you fall off the wagon, you're like, shoot, I did it again. Okay, wait. Oh, what was the pattern that you always tend to run into? Find that pattern and then know that that's a flag next time that you're sticking to something new. And once you see this new pattern show up, no, stop yourself. And it's time to redirect. Sit back, think, okay, am I getting bored? What's throwing me off right now? Is it kids that get sick? Is it me that gets sick? Is it work that gets busy? What is it? What's your pattern? Now, knowing your pattern, having a plan as to what you're going to do, setting your goal, and then having a plan for when the plan doesn't work. It sounds so silly, but it's going to happen. You're going to fall off that horse. You're going to fall off the new pattern. You are going to do it because it will happen. But if you have a plan to get back on track, then it's easier to know that, okay, I'm going to hit these road bumps. I'm going to hit this Y in the road that sends me in another direction. Because most of the time, or not most of the time, all the time, when we set new goals, we are thinking that it's going to go straight up like this. And we're just going to make progress the entire way through. when in fact it looks more like so it looks more of like that squiggly line and crap's happening in the middle, and then you go back and you get back on track again, and then you hit again. So what's the plan to get you back on track? When you hit that pattern of getting too busy, getting bored, life gets busy, what is your pattern to get back on track? There's a mindset that I'd like you to think about as well. And that is, what if you don't actually stop the new pattern or the new goal? And what if you just had to take a pause? A lot of my clients always say, oh, it's so hard to get started again. And when we have that mental image of having to start all over again, it makes it hard. And our brains are going, gosh, I don't want to have to do that again. I don't want to have to start again. What if we didn't have to start again? What if all we did was just take a pause and then we're going back at it again? We're not stopping. We're just pausing. Our habits didn't stop. We still have those going a little bit in the background, right? Just think that they're just going in the background the whole time. They haven't stopped. You're still aware of them. You're still going to start them again. They're just paused. And whenever that time is to start again, all you're having to do is start with 5 minutes, 5 times a week, so that you're not setting yourself up for failure. So there are no baby steps that are too small. There are no steps that are too small to begin. And that tends to be a rule that some people have where they're saying, oh, well, that's not enough to really get started. Well, is it? Or is it really just a rule that you've set for yourself and thinking that, no, that's not enough to begin? Any amount of time is good to begin. 1 minute of doing something is good to begin with, right? Even if 5 minutes is like, ooh, I'm so busy, I don't even have 5 minutes. What about 1 minute? 1 minute of doing squats while you're brushing your teeth, right? 1 minute of just breathing. It's all achievable. So it's more about how you set it up in your mind. It's more about the rules that you're setting for yourself and having a plan to get back on your plan. All right, I'm going to keep this short and sweet for today. And I know these tips are going to help you. Set your goal for this coming year or at any point during the year. If you tend to take a pause, you know how to get back at it again. All right, so if you are interested in working with me with coaching or with training, you can always find more information at livinghealthyhappy.com. I help people build their best lives, and I love helping clients achieve success when they're setting their goals. So if you've made it this far, I'm going to give you a special offer, and that is 10% off the first 2 months of coaching. Now, whatever that coaching looks like for you, whether it's training, whether it's a combination of training and nutrition, mindset coaching, emotional release techniques, whatever it is that you need, I will offer the first 2 months at 10% off. So whenever you see this, just type in the comment box or get in touch with me and use STEM10, and then I will know that I can give you 10% off those first 2 months. All right, if you're looking to set a new goal and you need that accountability, I am here to help you and guide you along that path. Again, my name is Courtney Lendine, and I hope that I will see you again soon, and have a wonderful day.